In progress.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, freeze dry. Freeze dry everything. It all started with freeze dry. Or was it Folgers or Sandy? That was acid. Always Italian. Oh, yeah. Fresh Diet right? Diet right is RC. Diet RC. See who it is? Or the false ring. Or the false ring. You don't know who it is? Yeah. Yeah, they were the knife stays in the box. Service Center? Yeah, we went up there. My wife took a look.
Can we open up the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call here.
Commissioner Knapp?
Here.
Commissioner Lina?
Here.
Vice Chair Lee?
Here.
President Woodensky?
Here.
Commissioner Valeri? Here. All in attendance?
Thank you. Under announcements, something on the agenda, the Historic District for Pocono Manor will be tabled tonight. Next, public comment policy has changed. For public comment at the beginning of a meeting, it will be permitted 3 minutes on non-agenda items only. For action items, you may speak at the podium and be permitted 1 minute for your comments during that agenda item. Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to make a public comment? Yes, sir.
My name is Frank Greeley, and I'm a township resident. I was here a couple weeks ago regarding off-road motorcycles and ATVs. Well, there's still a problem up by McKay Road and from Shine Hill. The police had to be called over the weekend again. Also, still loud music and announcements coming from Lindmere. Again, they're a mile away, and it's pretty loud, so that's all. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else have any public comment? Oh, wait, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Good evening, Charles Kepler, resident. At the last meeting, there was a change made to the local ordinances to allow chickens. I think that's great, but I think it would be in the community's best interest to hold a workshop on potential regulations on, where people can have chickens, how many they can have, how close they can be to property lines, how close they can be to water. As far as I know, the motion and what was passed at the last meeting didn't include any regulation whatsoever. Commissioner Wine, I saw you turn your mic on. Did you want to?
Yeah,
Were there?
it does, yeah. It'll be a hearing that we, when we have it.
Sorry?
It'll be a hearing that'll be scheduled tonight.
Okay.
That's how it works.
Okay.
Yep.
That's all. I think a workshop would, benefit the public so that they would have an opportunity to, make their voices heard. So, thank you very much.
Anyone else have a public comment?
Good evening, my name is Ed Gualtieri. I'm a resident at 154 Ruby Lane. I have the kennel of the Airedale Terriers. We are down to 3 dogs. As we place one of our male dogs, we still have 4 puppies that will be moved and placed in other homes. But I wanted to just make a couple of comments that we did address the enforcement notice that zoning had sent out, and action was taken and was confirmed by zoning. We did some major significant additions to the fence to encapsulate our dogs to make sure they didn't find any escape holes, and we feel like we've addressed that. Of course, time will tell, but we're pretty confident of that. A new court date was set for September 2nd for any outstanding citations, several of which were addressed and adjudicated and dropped by the magistrate judge in town. And several of these happened before we did the second enforcement of the fence, which is in the fall of 2024. I don't believe there were any incidents between the fall of 2024 and the most recent incident that happened a couple weeks ago. So I don't consider this a recurring problem, although we did take the steps to address the recent issue. Also, I just want to make comment that Chief Wagner was kind enough to try to mediate and get us to talk. That's Ms. Parks and myself. And he brought his detective over. Lindsay was there. And Ms. Parks, I thought the conversation went off fairly well to begin with. She talked about she didn't hate dogs. She used to breed miniature schnauzers, I believe it was. And but then she made a comment that she was a good shot. And I looked quizzically at her and said, "Why would you insert that into the conversation? Are you threatening me and my dogs and my husband?" So that wasn't taken to very kindly. She also, last week there was an incident where there were loud noises coming from Ms. Park's address.
Sir, thank you very much. You're through.
Okay, all
Thank
right.
you very much.
Thanks.
Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to make a public comment?
Cheryl Parks, resident for 38 years. I never said that to Mr. Gautier about being a good shot. The dogs have gotten out. We have 4 incidences that we're waiting to go to district court for because they never showed up for court. I had to go to court to magistrate on last Tuesday. The date was changed. I never got any notice. They still don't have my right address. They don't have my right address or Karen Deliden's right address. Hopefully they have it now. I'm still waiting to go to district court to get notice of when that's supposed to be. I heard it was the end of August. The loud noises that were coming from my house where my son was up, I had to take time to go to the magistrate, out of time with my family. We've had to show up at all the magistrate things. They don't show up. The dogs have been out, I think 6 times since last November. I have everything on film. Mr. Guadaleri, that day that dog nearly knocked me over. And he can say the dogs are 50 pounds. The standard for Airedales is 50 to 70 pounds. It doesn't matter. They shouldn't be running loose. They shouldn't be in my garage. And I have 20 minutes of video from the police that day because he said, oh, they're aloof or they don't go by strangers, running all around the policeman's legs, which is what they were doing to me. Trespassing on my property. They were there 4 days, and I get a video from my neighbor with them walking their 5 dogs all over my property. By his own admission, they've had over 26 dogs there. They need to have a state license. The dogs need to be off the front deck because that's what the township zoning ordinance says. Things would be much better if they were off of there. The day after the zoning board hearing, a letter was written, I think, to Mr. DeVito from their lawyer saying that if they had more than the 26 dogs on their property, they would file for a state license. By his own admission, there's more than 26 dogs. I don't think they filed for a state license. He said that last litter of puppies was 4 dogs. They always advertise the male and female dog, how many puppies, date of birth. This last litter...
Ma'am, thank you very much for your
Okay,
3 minutes.
thank you.
Is there anybody else in the audience wishing to make a public comment?
Could I just add to the kennel things? I just want to ask Leo or Jim or Lindsay, any one of you, do we have the proper address for them that we're passing along to the county, or where's that bad address originating from?
The mailing address that we send notices to, and I think, well, we don't technically mail things from the magistrate for them, but we pull from the county assessment office for mailing addresses.
What address are you using, the proper one?
Well, I haven't been mailing anything to Ms. Parks.
Let's just find out, what is the correct address?
We've already done this, but it's Stroudsburg. The mailing address is Stroudsburg, not Cambridge. So it's 150 Ruby Lane, Stroudsburg. And the same thing with Karen Verizon. Our address is Stroudsburg.
The magistrate also.
And the error address, I'm assuming it was Tannersville or Bartonsville or something like that nature?
Where?
What was the error in the address? In Bartonsville?
No, Tannersville.
Tannersville, okay.
We had the same thing.
I believe we addressed, I know the police side of this, we addressed this early on, but I'll make sure that it's addressed with.
I had told the DA had the wrong address too a few months ago, but I told him the right address.
Yeah, well, they may be getting it from the original paperwork, so that's already submitted, and now the new paperwork has the correct address in it, so.
Rich, if I might, Mrs. Parks, I'll be handling the appeal hearings in the Court of Common Pleas of Monroe County. So my office will be in touch with you, I'm sure, this week, set up an appointment to discuss everything, get you in line, and then also talk to the police officers so we'll prosecute the case while all the witnesses and evidence available to us, okay?
And this is the live too?
Yeah, what I'll do is probably use you as my contact point, talk to Karen, and we set up a meeting.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you did say you're a great shot, and Chief Wagner and Lindsay can attest to that.
Anybody else again? Is there anybody else that wants to make a public comment? Is there anybody that's dialed in by phone that wants to make a public comment?
No one has their hand raised.
Thank you. So tonight we have a hearing, so I'll make a motion to open the hearing for the new economic development restaurant liquor license for issuance to Sorrente at Camelback Mountain LLC. Recommendations, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Natasha. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Leo?
Thank you, Rich. This is a hearing for an enterprise liquor license. It's a little different than what we've had in the past, which is a transfer, intermunicipal transfer within the county. An enterprise license is a license issued to the individuals. It's not transferable, but it still requires that the hearing similar to a liquor license transfer be held. And with that, I know counsel is here. Counsel, if you could come to the podium, introduce yourself and tell us about your application.
Good evening. My name is Steve Hanford. I'm with the law firm of Silverhand, Roses, White & Holtzman in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. We represent Serenity at Camelback Mountain, which is the developer of the Serenity Membership Club nearby. Each county under the Liquor Code is given an allocation of restaurant retail licenses. The allocation for Monroe County is 56. Monroe County currently has 139 issued licenses. So for my client to obtain an actual, ordinary retail liquor license is nearly impossible. We did and are required to under the code do some research on that, made offers, and tried to obtain a regular retail restaurant license. The only one that was available was $500,000, which was just beyond our ability to afford it. So we contacted the PLCB and were informed of the economic development retail restaurant license availability. That is not restricted by the quota in the way that the regular retail licenses are, but instead it is intended, as Mr. DeVito noted, for a specific location and a specific owner. It is not transferable to promote economic development in the area, and that could be anything from enhancing employment, just creating economic activity. Obviously, in a restaurant context, there's going to be purchases of food and liquor and other things that the restaurant will be selling. So, in connection with that, under the Liquor Code, we are required to obtain a resolution from the Board of Commissioners similar to the one that would approve the transfer of the license into the township, basically just approving that we can continue our application for this license If approved, it would be at the clubhouse at Serenity as part of the restaurant facility that's being purchased there. In addition to myself today, I have Greg Bittner and Todd Cannon from Serenity, if anybody has any questions that I can't answer or if you require testimony.
Any commissioners that want to have a question?
This is typical, we generally approve these.
It's just a little different because it's not a transfer from one existing establishment to another.
It's once you buy it.
But they still have to qualify for it. It's not an automatic. If you buy a transferring liquor license, and assuming you qualify under the LCD regs, that's your license. Here, there's additional qualifications. That's the board understands.
And thank you. And just for context, assuming that we qualify in the first instance, Serenity will obtain a provisional license for 120 days, during which time we will have to demonstrate to the LCB that we are fully in compliance with all of the regulations governing this particular license.
Will this restaurant be open to the public or only to residents of Serenity?
It will be promoted to the residents because they'll be right there, but because it is a public liquor license, it will be open to the public.
Any other questions? Anybody in the public, since this is a hearing, is there any comments from the public regarding this matter? Seeing none, is there anybody online that wants to make a comment regarding this?
No.
I'll make a motion that we close the hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Brian. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Motion carried. I'll make a motion to approve the recommendations of the new economic development restaurant liquor license to be issued to Serenity at Camelback Mountain LLC. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Natasha. Discussion? Anybody in the public wish to make a comment regarding before we vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Motion carried. Good luck.
Steve, you have a resolution?
We have a written resolution.
We'll have to do that at the next meeting, correct?
You can do it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's not on the agenda.
No, you approved the resolution when you signed it. It needs to be signed by you on the last page and Jerry.
So it doesn't have to be voted on, or it's already voted on?
It's already voted on by approving. We approved the resolution.
You need to sign it right now?
Please, if you can, then get them all their way. You can grab that from Jerry.
Would you like me to send you a copy?
Please do. Email me a copy. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Good luck. We have another hearing tonight. I'll make a motion to open the hearing to continue the appeal of the Township Code Enforcement Officers Note of a Dangerous Structure Order to demolish. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Motion carried. Mr. DeVito.
All right, you remember that this is one of numerous hearings that we've had on this matter. In our last hearing, there was conversation about whether or not there would be a way to resolve this matter by an agreement. An agreement was circulated, and I apologize for the late delivery to the board. Mr. Kidwell was rudely taking vacation in between our hearings. I wanted to get his comments. I got it out as soon as I did. So I can tell you that the agreement provides that the demolition of the dangerous structure at issue will occur no later than 60 days after the closing. I can tell you that there's a stipulation in here rather than a hearing and appeals, and potentially an appeal to the Commonwealth Court. Stipulation that the structure does qualify as a dangerous structure in accordance with Chapter 382 of the Pocono Township Code of Ordinances. I can also tell you that if the demolition does not occur on or before December 2nd, 2025, that the township, by virtue of this agreement, has the right to enter upon the property to cause the structure to be demolished. In addition, the cost of demolition, together with a 10% penalty, shall be assessed as a municipal lien against the property, and that if there is any action necessary to try to recover those monies, that we would be entitled to our attorney's fees. The appellant, the Butts Trust Miller parties, and the purchaser waive any defense to the township's enforcement rights, that this is to be incorporated into the agreement of sale between the appellant and the purchaser, and shall survive closing. So I have reviewed this, I've made comments. I believe my comments were acceptable both to the appellant, the Butts Miller people through Mr. Wolf, and also the zoning office. I ran it by Mr. McGlynn, and Mr. Kidwell has consented that the agreement, subject to the board's approval, is an appropriate way to end this matter fully and finally.
I oppose, because I don't think the taxpayers should bear the cost, possibly, of someone not paying their taxes and not having the money to do what they need to do. Everybody else here needs to do that. This has been a demolition for quite a long time, and I think we either need to, the buyer can put up a deposit and earmark that for us, and the lien needs to be filed before all this tape happens. I mean, because the chances are, if this sale falls through, we're right back where we started, we're no further ahead, and they've already admitted they have no money to pay us. So we need to protect our people's money, and they need to put it up front.
And if I might, Rich, for a moment, but the converse of that is to conclude the hearing. The board determines whether or not it's a dangerous structure, assuming that the board agrees that in fact it's a dangerous structure. The Butts Miller Trust can appeal that decision to the Court of Common Pleas. The township would have to engage in that appeal by way of briefing and argument. If the court agrees that it is in fact a dangerous structure, Butts Miller could then appeal that to the Commonwealth Court of Pennsylvania. Once again, we'd have to participate, township would have to participate in the briefing schedule until we get their determination. Now, we get their determination, and the determination is affirmed that it is in fact a dangerous structure, and the Butts Miller clients say, we don't have any money, we're not going to do anything. At that point in time, as I've recommended to the board in the past, we would then petition the court for express permission to enter upon the property to destroy the building. We would get that permission granted to us by the court. We would enter upon the property, destroy the building, and at that point in time, file a lien on the property. So what this agreement does is it wraps up all of that into this agreement, stops the expenditure of legal fees, which, I mean, I don't mind billing, but if we're going to wrap it up, no, I'm being serious. I mean, but if we can wrap it up, and I don't have to go to court and try to convince a judge that we're okay to go on the third-party private property because they've already consented that we do that, we're ahead of the game. So I understand what you're saying, Ellen, but we could be there 2 years from now where we don't have a bond, we don't have, and there's no reason, nothing in our ordinance requires that they post them on, and we still wind up expending taxpayer money, we've expended legal fees, and we've wasted time, more time on this situation. So that's the alternative to your position. I just wanted the board to
Couldn't
understand.
they agree right here and now to put up the money? I mean,
I talked to this, I will represent to this board that I talked to Mr. Wolf, and they're not agreeable to do anything.
So they wouldn't, there's no deposit for the purchase that's in escrow or going in escrow now?
I'll let Mr. Wolf address it, but when we had the conversation, once the sale occurs, even though there's money in escrow, he loses complete control of what the buyers do. This agreement allows us to go in on December 3rd and rip that building down.
The part of the agreement is that the buyer will, within 90 days of purchase, destroy and take the building down.
And if not, we have the ultimate right to do that and then put a lien on it, but that is correct. And they pay prevailing wage or whatever else is involved in our people tearing down the building. Good, Andrew?
Did you want me to address that?
Yeah, please do.
So the question of the deposit or escrow at closing came up this afternoon. It's a practical problem of trying to discuss that with the buyer, my co-owner, and come up with a conclusion. But the real issue there is you're asking the seller of the property to put money into escrow for something past closing that the buyer has to do. We don't have the rights that the township has to petition the court to go on the property to demolish a structure. So you're asking the seller to be, in essence, held hostage with money in escrow for something that the seller cannot accomplish. So it became a very practical difficulty to that question raised at the 11th hour.
I have to disagree. The seller needs to maintain his property, and part of that has been the demolition. So to me, this is on the seller, not the buyer. The buyer didn't do anything.
So the question was relative to holding money in escrow at settlement, and that's what I was addressing. Thank you.
Anything else?
Yes, it sets a precedent for everybody else behind them to do the same.
Where else are we trying to have our property torn down?
I think we.
We've been trying to get this property torn down for at least 8 years, or longer.
Yeah.
So the buyer or the seller has already identified that they have no money. And this agreement, I think, is pretty solid. And if it doesn't go through within 90 days, we can go in there and tear it down and leave the property and done with it. And at least the eyesore and the dangerous structure is gone. And then whoever purchases it has to pay the fees back to the township, and also has to comply with all the ordinances that are on the books.
I wonder if it goes to tax sale in the meantime.
Whatever, it doesn't matter.
I think it matters to the taxpayer.
It would matter if it went to the spring tax sale. All liens would be extinguished. Right?
But the ask is something that's not required. We can get to this point where we are now 2 years from now. Their financial status is not going to be any better, and we'll still be litigating. I mean, that's what we're exchanging, is finality with the recognition or understanding that we may have to enter upon the property to tear it down.
You could leave the property and then if they don't, and sell it, right?
We can do that now, too, under the agreement. We can do it under the agreement.
And that lien would be extinguished in the spring if it goes to tax sale.
I'm sorry, Brian, I didn't hear you.
And that lien would get extinguished in the spring sale.
Well, municipal liens are a little different. I would argue that, like a tax lien, they're not, it's mortgages and things of that nature, judgments, they get released. We get a little bit of a priority because we're a municipal lien. However, you're in that position, if we have a hearing tonight for 2 hours to determine dangerous structure, make a determination, bring an opinion, and then start the appeal process.
Leo, has the buyer's attorney reviewed this, or would be the first step for, because I see on the agreement that they have to sign it, the purchaser.
So the property is not currently under contract. It had been under contract, and the contract was terminated. We are in the process of trying to get the property back under contract, and the requirements that this board, if they establish it by the stipulation, would be part of that agreement. The buyer has seen the stipulation, do not have the property under contract. The buyer has seen the stipulation, but the property is not currently under contract.
So then regardless, December 3rd is our cutoff, right?
That's it.
So regardless of whether it's under contract or not, December 3rd, if the structure's knocked down, no matter who owns the property, we can go in and tear it down, correct?
All the risk
Based
is,
on this agreement, so
We don't get paid.
there's no harm of the tax sale.
We don't get paid to do it.
Until it's sold.
You still need the property.
You don't get
You're not getting paid now, with the difference. You're not getting paid now,
paid.
because
If it goes to
that's
tax
how
sale,
it
there's
is
nothing
later.
to sell. That's the difference.
I'm sorry, Alan.
If it goes to tax sale, then there's nothing to sell.
If it goes to tax sale during the litigation, there's nothing to do either.
so each,
If it goes to tax sale, our lien survives.
But we're not gonna have one until we get permission from the court to go on the property.
No, what I'm saying is if this sale falls through December 4th, we go in and tear it down, our lien survives the tax sale.
I will double check it, but I'm almost positive.
And regardless, this gives us an action item versus going through all the appeals. At
Correct.
least it gives a light at the end of the tunnel.
We have an action item now, they can use it. Isn't that an
Given,
action?
like Leo just said, they can continue to appeal it and drag it out 2 years. And it's still a tax sale during that period, and we're still sitting here.
so So
At least this gives us some room to work.
I think if you put the pressure on, they want to sell, they're gonna do what they need to do to sell, to get the money.
It's very easy to say, you can't just make someone buy a property. They're very clearly trying to sell it. They're financially strapped as the estate now. They're doing everything they can to stay afloat. And we're just cutting their knees out even more.
So the tax sale questions come up, and if it was the trust's or the state's intention to let this property go for tax sale, it would have done that many years ago. Each year we've entered into a payment plan with the Monroe County Tax Claim Bureau, which we've successfully completed. Unfortunately, we have to take taxes a year at a time because that's the only way to eat the elephant. Okay, that's where all the money is going at present, is to pay property taxes. So, as in past years, there'll be a payment agreement with the Monroe County Tax Claim Bureau to pay the 2023 taxes at this point over a period of 8 months, as we have done in the past.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any commissioners? Anything else? This is a public hearing, so is there anybody in the audience who wishes to come up and provide testimony for this? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to close the hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carried. I'll make a motion to approve the appeal of the Township Code Enforcement's notice of dangerous structures ordered to demolish on subject property known as Monroe County Tax Parcel ID number 12.11A.1.93, located in a commercial zoning district, violation of the 382-4 of the ordinance. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. Discussion? Anybody in the audience wish to make a comment before we vote?
Rich, if I might just correct one thing. On your motion, it would be to agree to enter into the stipulation and agreement regarding dangerous structure located in Monroe County Tax Parcel ID number 12-11A.1.93.
I'll accept that amendment if Mike will second my second.
I'll second it.
I just want to say I agree.
For the hearing, all your address, your name, and all that kind of stuff.
Charles Kepler, resident. I just want to say that I agree with Commissioner Gannett. I think that the board should enforce the demolishing of this property. This has been kicked multiple times now. I mean, I've been hearing about this for months at meetings. I know I've heard people say that there's a bus stop adjacent to the property. You know, if it's dangerous, we shouldn't keep kicking the can on it. We should get it torn down. It sets a bad precedent to kick the can on this over and over again. You know, they're saying that they don't have money to demolish it, but we're hearing that they're going to be, you know, paying for 2 years of litigation to do it. I mean, you know, I think this board can call their bluff here. You know, I think that they're saying that, but you know, at the end of the day, if the structure needs to go, it needs to go. And I don't want to. You know, I wouldn't want, if I had a kid living nearby, you know, I don't live in this neighborhood, but, you know, I wouldn't want that dangerous structure to continue to exist for another 3 months, for another 2 months, you know, at all. If it needs to go, it needs to go before somebody gets hurt. Thank you very much.
Anyone else?
Hi, Gina Loyak, Foxtel Builders. The Loyak, L-O-Y-E-K. With the proposed buyers, I have a question with that document. Does it still stipulate that we will get a non-conforming lot out of it?
There are requirements that you have to provide to zoning, and the answer to your question is yes. If you provide those documents. It's listed right in, I don't know if Mr. Wolf, if you have a copy you could give to Ms. Loyak?
Okay, so that non-conforming comes before closing or after closing? The certificate?
After demolishing, right?
Well, they need to provide, in exchange for demolishing the building, a signed sealed survey prepared by Pennsylvania licensed professional surveyor engineer, submitted prior to the issuance of any certificate of nonconformity. contingent upon issuance of the certificate is contingent upon demolition occurring as contemplated by this agreement. So yes, that's correct.
So after it's demolished, you'll determine what the footprint of not conforming is?
No, you
Or is it
will-
going to be the whole?
No, you will have an engineer survey go out, survey that footprint, put it on a plan, knock down the building, and submit everything to Lindsay. That's how it's intended to work.
The answer to your specific question is the certificate could be established upon getting a service, and that could happen before closing. In other words, you want to know what you got.
Right. Thank you. That was the question.
But it would be conditioned on the demolition.
Correct.
What was that?
But it would be conditioned on the demolition. So it wouldn't, you wouldn't get the non-conforming certificate before demolition.
You get
No,
it.
but you'll have a survey, and then you'll be able to tell me before I do the demolition.
You'll get an indication whether or not you would get one, then you demolish, and assuming that you met that requirement, you met the requirements, zoning would issue the certificate of non-conformity.
Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays?
Nay.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you, Mr. Kimball, thank you for your service.
Donna, thank you very much. We don't have any resolutions tonight. Under consent agenda, I'll make a motion to approve a consent agenda of the following items. Old business consisting of the minutes of the July 21st, 2025 regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners. Financial transactions through August 4th, 2025 as presented, including ratification of expenditures in the amount of $478,629.02 for the following accounts. General fund, sewer operations, gross payroll, capital reserve, construction fund, transfers. Discussion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, personnel, new business. Make a motion to begin the interview process following the union guidelines for replacement of full-time public works position to replace vacancy created by retirement of township. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Natasha. Discussion.
Can we really have a replacement?
No. Fantastic.
That's it. Anybody in the audience wish to make a comment regarding this matter before we vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carried. Tonight I have nothing. Ms. Lee?
Yes, so, on my agenda tonight is to discuss the LERTA. I'm going to continue to look this way, because it's geared towards the three of us. So in looking over the LERTA, the ordinance that was passed, it has not yet been adopted by Monroe County or the school board. We heard a lot of public comment, a lot of, school board, meetings and then here. So some suggestions that I would like to do to tweak the LERTA, is taking the industrial abatement back to 7 years, taking the minimum cost and investments down to $250. It was originally at $1 million. Carve out for data centers, warehouses, truck terminals, distribution, etc., to not explicitly give the LERTA to essentially things that we don't really want, like warehouses, etc., except for within their districts. Any project that currently has any standing in the township right now would be disqualified from the LERTA completely. We also should consider banning any board members who are sitting board members during their term that have any equity interest in any properties not be allowed to qualify for the LERTA. If they don't, if they don't follow the LERTA to a T, they have to pay the back taxes. Max applications 5 per year, and then the entire ordinance is void if the school district and the county do not adopt our ordinance along with us. So those are some things that we've kind of put together based on public comment and everything. So how are we feeling? What are we thinking? I do think that if we do move forward with LERTA in any way to make it cleaner, repeal the old one and then adopt the new one. Correct. Just because we've already presented to the school district, it's already went to Monroe County, it's kind of out there where you don't want any confusion, except for the simple fact of a comparison, what it was versus what it is. But instead of trying to amend that one, I think
Just
it'd be cleaner.
interject, because I should have said this before. I have to abstain from any discussion or vote because I am conflicted with my client owns property. I should have said that earlier, so get that in there.
I don't think that's a requirement, but I'll go along with you. I'm going to abstain from any discussion or vote.
Yes, I kind of preface that at the beginning of my talk, just because
That's what she's
it's been
talking
known
about.
that it's been a conflict.
I own commercial property in the township.
So, and moving forward on that, Brian is not a comment, but Brian's project would be discontinued, Alan's conflict would be, not allowed to be part of LRTA, has standing, those kinds of things. So anything that currently has standing would not apply for LRTA. And also taking the RD. So initially we had passed the LRTA with a 5-year in the commercial and a 10-year in the RD. We should take that RD down to 5 as well. So 5, commercial, RD, and then the industrial zone, was originally a 10-year. I would like that to come down to 7.
Yeah.
And again, it allows for development within the township, however, it creates a very strict structure for, what we want to see moving forward. It allows for lower repairs, not taking into consideration common level ratio, but it opens it up to more people.
Yeah, especially since you want to knock it down to 250 instead of having $1 million as the count there.
I'm looking at Claire's suggestions, and I think the way it has to move forward, and hopefully the county and the school district will also approve this. It gives us an opportunity to bring businesses into the township. Tax base on the existing property never changes, and every year we get that 20% every year until it reaches the cap, and then we get 100%.
Correct. It's also a very good budgeting tool, because if we have alert up, and again, if we're taking out everything that has standing, it's new projects coming in, it's a budgetary tool for us too, because if they do qualify for the alert up, we can budget based on that tax money coming in every single year.
Yeah, and the fact that current board members can't participate in it, it keeps faces and names out of the headlines.
And again, even moving forward, banning anyone who's sitting on the board currently that has an equity interest in any project, regardless of whether it would typically qualify for alert or not, should not be allowed to have that project, because that would be a financial gain.
So which way, where do we have to go, Leo?
You would make a motion to authorize the solicitor to repeal the existing LRTA. I would say as an aside, the LRTA that is currently in place is not in effect. Oh, I'm sorry. The LRTA in place that was voted on is not in effect because it was contingent upon adoption by the school district and the county. Neither of those entities has adopted a LRTA that would incorporate our properties. So I know we had an application that came in. That application should be returned and indicate that there is no applicable LRTA in Pocono Township. So I would do a motion first to authorize solicitor to prepare an ordinance repealing the existing LRTA ordinance. It's the first thing I would do.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Before we vote, anybody in the audience wish to make a comment regarding this matter? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays?
Abstain, I have conflict of interest, they're applying mine.
I abstain as well. I have a conflict. I own commercial property that apparently will be not approved.
Motion carried.
The second motion I would make then, Rich, is a motion to authorize the solicitor to draft a new LRTA ordinance based upon the comments that were discussed this evening. I would ask if that motion passes, Natasha, if you send me a short email listing all those, so make sure I get them correct. Okay, thank you.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Natasha.
Wait, can I say something on this?
Well, yeah, I didn't get there yet, but
Okay.
the motion was made. Is there any comments regarding this from us three? Because
I appreciate that you're repealing.
One for the audience, please, your name.
Oh, sorry.
And your address.
Yeah, my name's Matt Long. I live at 3 Toms Way, Pocono Township resident. I'm glad that we're repealing, and I've never opposed Alerta. I just wanted to add a couple comments to the suggestions Natasha made. I hope that the 3 commissioners who are working on this will also consider making the Alerta zone a little more targeted along the 611 corridor. And I also just have a question in terms of, obviously you mentioned sitting commissioners will not have any conflict, but what about family members of commissioners, business partners of commissioners? You know, I want that to be looked at as well, so there's no runaround, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Is there, I mean, how far down the rabbit hole do we go with that? Because as township residents, township taxpayers, a lot of time, not a lot of times, but there are times where I guess your family could benefit in some way. I don't know. So, I mean, how far down the rabbit hole do we want to go with that, or is it just a sitting board?
Well, I mean, sitting board, or, and you can define what that means. And what I mean by that is you can say board member, neither a board member, sitting board member, nor their family, shall be eligible for this. So we can define that exclusion.
So immediate family?
I think, yeah, immediate family. I mean, you can take it out to great grandchildren, but.
Well, I don't want to, I mean, I don't know my cousin Joe's. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No. Yeah, I mean, it's a good point, but I think that's all, that's, we'll take care of defining what that, quote, sitting commissioner means.
okay, that's
Because
fine.
it's not only sitting commissioner, obviously it would be their spouse.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, you can't get
Yeah.
around it by saying, oh, well, my spouse was, no.
No. And Matt, thank you for that point too. So I definitely had looked at sizing down the areas a little bit. However, to me, it seems a little bit like spot zoning, where you're targeting individual properties and saying this one can and this one can't, and then why? Why can this one and why can't that one? And then it just kind of opens up a can of worms on discrimination and all that fun stuff. So I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. It is targeted to commercial, RD, and industrial. So you're mostly along the 611, 715 corridor. There's a couple properties here and there, but I mean, RD is really only, RD is what? Pocono Manor, Birchwood, Camelback.
Yeah.
So Birchwood's really one of the only ones that's not really developed as an RD.
And Brookdale.
And Brookdale. So it is targeted down a lot. It's just, I don't want to start looking through the tax map and saying yes, no, yes, 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 because then why?
Can I say something?
Sure, go ahead.
Do I have to come back up?
Absolutely.
I just want to say I'm not an expert on Alerta, but
It is kind of supposed to be very targeted.
It is.
You know, in terms of, you are supposed to look at the property and is it deteriorated? You know, do we really want to encourage development of this specific property? It's not just supposed to be for every property in the commercial zone. So I think it is appropriate to look at each one and go through that process with each one. That's all I want to say.
Anyone else want to make a comment?
Yeah, I don't want to make this more complicated than it may be, but when you say commercial, are we saying commercial C1, C2, C3, which is anticipated in the new ordinance?
Yes, we do.
Or are we just saying blanket commercial, at which point in time we may have to take a relook at it when the zone, if and when the zoning gets done?
I would say all the districts, I mean.
I mean, at this point in time, if we're gonna do it, we should do it on the existing zoning. If we're gonna do it, you say, okay, C, boom, as it exists today. I'm just telling the board that if the new comprehensive redo on the zoning goes through, we're gonna have C1, 2, 3, and you may wanna take a relook at it, but just so you understand. Okay?
Yep.
Make sense?
Yep.
Vice Chair Lehman, you had discussed carving out Pocono Manor and Birchwood. Is that something you still wanted to do?
Oh, yes, thank you.
You can include that in your notes too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, send me an email to the township.
I would.
I mean, basically, this leaves just the 611 and 715 corridor.
And small RD, Brookdale as well.
Anyone else in the audience wish to make a comment regarding this? Can you put the clock up there, please?
Of course, I get the clock. Charles Kepler, 133 Rose Lane, resident. I'd just like to echo Mr. Long's concern about targeting. The LERTA is supposed to be for distressed properties. Opening it up to the entire township, will open up a feeding frenzy for, large corporate businesses to come up, set up shop, and, challenge our smaller local businesses. I do think that, bringing it down from the $1 million minimum will help to address that. But it's still going to put us perpetually behind on tax revenue, targeting it to, state roads or county roads that we're not paying for. Opening it up to the entire township will potentially, put local taxpayers on the hook paying for infrastructure improvements to, get people to the, get people to these businesses. I wouldn't want to see that, and we're going to be perpetually behind, because by the time, the 5 years are up and that, the business is finally paying their full share of the tax revenue, there'll be new businesses coming in to take advantage of the LERTA. So we're going to be perpetually behind on tax revenue. So that's my concern. Thank you very much.
So just to note that point too, the businesses are coming regardless. So the LERTA is not to help them out, to help out the Wawas and have Wawas everywhere. That's not the goal in this. The goal is to have smart development within the township that allows for people to have the LERTA, and the taxes does not change the existing assessed value. So if the property is paying $20,000 a year in taxes right now, the LERTA does not change that. They still continue to pay that. The LERTA is on the improvements.
Can I say something
Sure.
else? I mean, if the bit, yeah, of course. I would just make the obvious point that if the businesses are coming anyway, then why are we trying to incentivize them with LERTA? It seems like we're just trying to give tax breaks to,
The Wawas aren't the ones that need the LERTA. The people who are locals who want to do projects, they're the ones that are going to help with the LERTA, and the LERTA is going to help them. It's not targeted. I mean, if you notice my points, that's why we carved out the warehouse, the data centers, the truck terminals, because we don't want the LERTA to go to them. We want to be able to help people, local businesses, homegrown people, which is also why we took that minimum down.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that.
$1,250,000. So our goal in this is to help the residents of Pocono Township, local people. It's not to help these conglomerate corporations take over our area.
Well, they're the ones, they're definitely going to be taking advantage of it just as much as the local businesses are.
Unfortunately, they are, but at least it gives the local business owner a chance on the playing field.
Okay, thank you.
I didn't see anybody else stand. Does anybody else want to make a comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carried. Anything else?
That's all, thank you.
Ms. Nash?
Yes. John? So
Yes, we're continuing to monitor it. They're still in compliance. I did address your question when you said you came down, I believe, from Mount Pocono. We did take a look from that vantage point. It did look brown. We took a closer look. They had just put down mulch and straw, so that's why it had that brownish hue to it. But it was properly seeded and mulched. So
has it grown, or they just seeded it now?
they had just seeded it back when you had seen it, so it's probably been about 10 days.
Weren't they supposed to do that a long time ago?
No, because they just finished the grading operation at that point, at that location.
Thank you. And I just want to comment on the kennel. I attended the district magistrate where it was canceled, so we need to get that address straight.
Is that it?
Well, it's not on the agenda. I'll put it on the next agenda. I had quite a few more things, but I didn't get to the agenda yet.
What's the rule though, Leo, just so we
we can clean this up a little bit, because if it requires a motion, it has to be on the agenda. But if it's just a talking point, does it have to be on the agenda if it doesn't require a motion in any way?
What's the pleasure of the board? Your board, you can set the agenda however you'd like to. The amendments are what, it's the amendments to add something that involves a vote, especially with the expenditure of money, that's not permitted. But if you want to allow, no, not a motion, but talking points.
I only ask because sometimes stuff comes up, like the last meeting that we had, someone had called me over the weekend regarding the Laurel Lake line striping, and it wasn't on my agenda, and I made a comment about it to, Pat, and I was told it wasn't on the agenda, so I couldn't talk about it, but it's kind of double-edged sword, isn't it? Like, if it's not a motion item.
We're allowing the public to participate, so if you bring up an issue and you want to discuss it, it's not like you're being shut out and, at the beginning, you have to speak about agenda items like we used to do in 5 minutes, and then we would run through the business meeting without public comment, public input. You're allowing public input, and if you did that for an item that comes up, whatever that item is, that was the pleasure of the board.
Well, we had on our last meeting, a few things that were on the agenda that the public did not get a chance to talk about.
Well, because they were tabled.
Well, when you come out, when you see something on the agenda that there's possibly a motion, an action item, and you make the effort to be here and you wait 3-4 hours to get your turn, and then we discuss it for another half hour, and through that discussion we decide we're going to table it, I believe we should let the public speak. We've already discussed it, they came here to discuss it, there's no harm. I know they'll get another chance, but I thought the idea was to be friendly, try it out and see what happens. Also,
Yeah, that's a policy, Ellen, I would agree. If that's the policy of the board, then if you're here to speak on an item, regardless of whether it's tabled or
we
not.
didn't really make a policy yet because we're trying things out, right? But we're shutting people down, and I don't necessarily think that was the right thing to do.
I disagree. I don't think we're trying to shut anything down, but if you don't have something on the agenda and it gets published, and then one of us talk about something that's not on the agenda, the public is not going to be here to care about that. And then they're going to get rumors that, oh yeah, the commissioners talked about whatever the issue was last night. They may want to be here to add to our comments or to give us input. And then, so that's the reason why I think forever, the managers have said, get me your agenda items by Wednesday of the previous meeting so we can publish it, so it can be read, identified, and then the public can decide whether they want to talk about that. If we talk about something that's not on there, again.
You missed my point. I wasn't talking about things that weren't on there. I'm talking about things that were on there that we might not have gotten to or we tabled after looking at it. I think if it's on the agenda, regardless of what we do, the public should have a right to speak to it because they came out for it.
Well, I think that's why I think under my announcements early, right after the roll call, to say that the historic district for Pocono Manor will be tabled. So people that were here personally for that,
Right, but we didn't do that last time. We had the full discussion and then it got tabled. So I think we need to be flexible.
So I do agree with Ellen on that. If the policy is now that we're going to allow public comment for a motion item, regardless of whether we yay, nay, or table it, I do agree that it should be open to the public to make their comments, especially in a situation like this last time where we didn't get to that discussion until 3 hours in, and then we tabled it. So anybody who sat there for it didn't get a chance to speak. So I do agree with you.
anything else, Ellen? Did you say no?
No, nothing else.
Mr. Wynack? Nothing? Mr. Valordi?
Yeah, well, I got an update on the Golden Slipper rodent situation, and turns out that with any luck, they'll be open on September 1st, which is way better than September 15th, by 2 weeks. And Lindsay, did you say that you had some information for me about the tent city in Barton Glen?
Yes, so I did go out this morning and I inspected, and it does not look like anything is approved, so we will be moving forward with a property maintenance notice.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Velarde, if I could just interrupt you there.
Sure.
A lot of people online have asked what exactly Tent City is, and
Oh.
I believe it's going to be development, so if you could just fill everything in online.
It's just a cute way of describing what I saw in one section of Barton Glen. They had a couple of tents set up in the forest on a dead end. There was rain barrels on the trees, and they were collecting rainwater. There was a couple of porta-johns that I noticed. There's a broken down bucket loader on a pile of dirt. They brought in dirt from God knows where, and well, I dubbed it the Tent City of Barton Glen. That's what it was. At least that's what I called it, and it kind of stuck. So that's what the Tent City is. There's no more tents so far. There's no more tents, and Lindsay said they're now going to pursue action against these people because they seem to think that they can just come here and dump on our property. And granted, it's their property; they own it, but what they're doing is not right. It's just not right. So, but that's the deal with the Tent City. And I have one more thing, and this is just something I've observed over the course of my 66 years of walking on this planet. It seems like a lot of people never had to hold a flashlight under the sink for their father. It just shows. Thank you.
Zoning. Lindsay, do you have anything for us tonight?
Yes, I'll keep it brief. So we did send an enforcement notice to Birchwood Sea Castle LLC for property maintenance issues as well. They had a couple items that were dumped on the property. And then from a hearing standpoint, we have 383 Badland Brook Road. That was an appeal of an enforcement notice that's scheduled for August 26th at 5 o'clock. And I'm sure Leo will talk about it as well, but 3288 Route 611 has been continued to the 26th at 4 p.m. That has been parked from variance.
Does anybody have anything for Lindsay? Lindsay, thank you very much. Chief Wagner?
I have nothing to say.
Thank you very much. Township Manager, Mr. Belvin?
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple things tonight. First one, I don't know if anyone had noticed as they walked in, the new display case that's been built by one of our Public Works members, Kenny Prebar. The whole thing was built by hand. All the etching and notching isn't something that was purchased. He did it in-house. We are running out of space at the Learned Legacy room for our historical artifacts, so we will be moving the bicentennial items over to this case. We're still waiting on the glass and doors to come in, but just a big thank you to Kenny for putting that together. It looks amazing. Not that the Historical Commission would like open to the public. We do use that, for yoga in the parks or any other programming that we have where people can touch it and possibly earn it. That Learned Legacy room is.
Where is it here where people can't?
It'll be in the display case right around the corner that Kenny had built. So the bicentennial and our participation on County 250 next year for the 17th centennial will be celebrated in that case. Website update. Ms. Courtney, do we have a timeline on the new website coming out?
Yeah, the proof will be sent to you this week.
Awesome. That's good. Well, thank you.
I gave you a small sneak the other day.
Stepped in for it. Just following up on the PMPB grant, we still expect to have those changes for the TLC Park completed by the end of September. And then just a quick update on civil service. We are still looking for 2 alternates for the Civil Service Commission if anyone would be interested. We are currently working with the current board by adding Mr. Farino and Mr. Shook onto there, trying to get the lateral transfer policy and the new rules accepted so that we can finally go out to hire, hopefully sooner than later.
Did you say we need 2 members?
Alternates, yeah. Yeah, so we had lost 3 members during the downtime, the Civil Service Commission had kind of scaled operations back now that there's been so many changes, all these policies, that we're ratifying, and electrical coming into play along with the off-duty injury policy and the lateral transfer and the sponsorship of the Act 120, kind of bringing the Civil Service Commission back to life as another help, to support police
Have we
officers.
advertised on billboards?
We did advertise on billboards a couple months ago, and we got Rob and Doug at it, but we still need 2 more. And it's still on the website, actually.
Can, just real quick, because you've announced that we're looking for alternates, can you just do a quick synopsis of what the Civil Service Commission is, just so that anyone who potentially could be interested in knows what it is?
Yeah. So the Civil Service is like the Planning Commission for the police. So basically, the Police Commission, they help on everything related to budget, capital items, any kind of improvements or changes to SOPs, policies, and also help with the hiring or appeal process. And that's all I have, Mr. President.
Mr. Bradel?
I have.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I know you're away, so for next meeting, can we get the update?
The cost spreadsheet. Yeah.
Anyone else?
There's one for everyone, yeah. So just an overall synopsis, we're sitting at 14.8% of where we would have been if we had contracted this out to an outside company, keeping everything in-house.
Good job. Thank you both.
Mr. Bradel?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple items tonight. As I promised previously, I have distributed to the board the quarterly report from Sewage Enforcement Officer Helen Beers. If you have a chance to look at that and have any questions, feel free to reach out and I'll get the answers, but it's pretty standard. It's basically her last quarter's worth of work. And I'll be providing that to the board regularly now on the quarter until the board tells me otherwise. Update on Staten Bridge lines. Recall last meeting there was a resident from Jackson Township that was concerned about the Staten Bridge lines. I received correspondence from PennDOT's bridge inspector today who recommended some changes to the signage that delineates the bridge from either direction. So I've ordered those signs and we'll be placing those signs in accordance with PennDOT's inspection report. I also took the inspection report and gave it to our township engineer, John, for his review as well.
Would that have been some of the signs that Karen was hopeful for on Ruby Lane, or other signs?
I don't know if it was related to Ruby Lane. It's more about the approach to the bridge, that it's a narrow bridge, and there's specific signage that PennDOT recommends. So I've already ordered those signs, and we'll be replacing them shortly. That should address the safety concerns.
But John, I believe you had looked up Staten Road for the signage that Karen was requesting.
Yes, we had gone out there. I felt that it needed more chevrons on the curve approaching the bridge. PennDOT, they've been inspecting these bridges for years. PennDOT also updates its signage requirements, and my guess is that they came up with some new requirements during this last round. But I haven't had a chance to look at the report yet.
Just it's a little different signage than what was there. So, Commissioner Lee had requested that I look at line striping, which I did. She was right. There's some sections of Laurel Road that are really worn. So I'm going to be doing a comprehensive investigation of all the township roads. We're getting into the time where we do our line striping. If any commissioners have any roads in particular they'd like me to look at or include, please shoot me an email or let me know. But I'll be putting that list together for the commissioner's approval in an upcoming meeting so we can get those lines striped. And the road resurfacing project is on schedule. We should be beginning that project within a week or so. I spoke with the contractor this morning, and I'll be making sure we get an announcement out to the public and the commissioners as to the timing for that event. It should only take a couple days, and it should be minimal traffic impact. And that's my report. Any questions?
Anybody have anything for Patrick?
Just one thing, can you check the grass at the end of 715, where they're doing the construction? I think last time I went by, it was getting high again.
So I did reach out to the contractor, just as a matter of course, and they're getting close to coming back in. You probably all saw that the bridge abutments were poured, and they have beams placed now. So they're making progress with the bridge. And according to my contact with the contractor, the general contractor, once the bridge work is completed, they'll be back in to start working on that earth moving activity as well. So I guess the good news is the mess eventually is going to be cleaned up, and that eventually looks sooner rather than later now. So we'll get in the bridge done. But I will look definitely. You're welcome.
Anybody else? Thank you, Mr. Green.
Thank you.
Township events report, Ms. Gambino.
Thank you. We're gearing up for our Pocono Olympics. That is August 16th. We're just about 12 days away. Mike has been helping me plan it. It was his idea. We're trying to bring it to
Blame me.
to life. We are still in need of some team members and captains if anybody is willing to want to be a part of an adult day field day. It's going to be a great event for the family, so even if you don't want to participate, come out, support it. All proceeds go to our fire company and our police department. They will have a team, and they will be doing a tug of war at the end. It's going to be a lot of fun. August is kind of jam-packed with a bunch of events. So then we go to August 21st, we have our movie in the park. We'll be showing Minecraft. August 28th, we have our concert in the park. We have a new band coming in, Uncle Smiley. I knew it was Uncle something. Uncle Smiley. And then August 30th, we have our township-wide yard sale. So you can go on our website, sign up for there, put your address in, and as it gets closer, we'll put the list of all the addresses that are participating on our site so people can come out to your events and we do all the advertising for you. That's all I have.
Does anybody have anything for Jen? Jen, thank you very much. Township engineers report, Mr. Tressler.
Thank you, Rich. On the sewer business, we're continuing to prepare the design plans for the various sewer extensions in the township. That's going along pretty quickly. Warren Road Safety Enhancement Project, that's on hold. TASA project, we're continuing to make progress. It feels like it's slow going because of PennDOT, but we acquired a couple more easements. We've addressed PennDOT's comments and getting the plans back to them, hopefully for the last time. TLC Walking Bridge, we're making good progress on that, working on plans for that. Turkey Hill, I've reached out to their engineer twice now. He, as I reported before, he said they think they did their last round of comments with PennDOT, but he couldn't confirm a date when they were going to start construction. I think maybe I'm going to try one more time, and if I don't get an answer, maybe Mr. DeVito might be able to get an answer for us.
John, where are those sidewalks going at Turkey Hill? Because they have lovely landscaping. Are they ripping that out?
They are going right at the foot of that landscaping, and some of their sidewalk area is actually in the PennDOT right of way, which is why they needed the HOP for that. So I can't remember off the top of my head if it's going to impact any of that landscaping. I just know it's at the foot of the hill, not further up.
Thank you.
If you do get a hold of their engineer, ask them if they'll pave the nice pothole at the beginning of the driveway.
Okay.
Keep trying on this.
I will mention that. I'm not sure how much influence he has over them at this point, but I will mention it.
Thank you.
And the Staten Road signage and curve painting, I think Mr. Briggle's taking care of that. As he mentioned, we just got a comment from PennDOT, which I'll be looking at, but And that's all I have, unless there's any questions.
John, Cranberry Road, with the stop signs that I think you looked at, where are we with that? Is that back in our court?
Yes. Yes, I made a recommendation for a stop sign at Antler Drive, coming, if you're, I guess we'll be going south or east. I recommended a stop sign on Cranberry Road at the intersection with Antler. I didn't believe one was necessary at Buck, and then at the next road, that,
Interest to Woodlands, I believe?
yes. I did recommend a full stop there. But it's in the board's court if they want to agree to do it.
Here, will you put that on my report for the next meeting on the agenda?
Will do.
Question, if I may. John, are we required to notify PennDOT prior to installing that or not?
No. Okay. We must comply with PennDOT criteria, but we don't have to notify them.
So once the board approves it, if at the next meeting they approve it, then there's certain criteria about the installation that we'll go over?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And I did recommend that we definitely put up the signs, stop sign ahead, so that people are warned.
Right, yeah, it's gonna be something new for all the folks that travel that road.
Right.
Okay.
Does anybody else have anything for John?
John, do you have an update on when the Barton Glen Road study's going to be completed?
No, because I haven't gone out there yet. I shouldn't say that. I went out, but I didn't do the actual study, but I will try to get that done within the next couple of weeks.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. DeVito?
Thank you, Rich. I sent out Friday drafts of the food truck ordinance, the proposed chicken ordinance, which is a zoning amendment, and the Knox box ordinance. I received on Friday, later that afternoon, comments from zoning that I can share. I'll share with everybody. If you have comments, if you can get them to me, I'd like to get it into a form by next meeting where you can authorize the township to advertise each of those ordinances. If there's something you want to discuss in front of the board this evening, then perhaps now's the time to do that.
I would like to discuss.
Sure.
So, the chicken ordinance, is that a necessary ordinance if we had a nuisance ordinance? Because the only reason, I mean, I know you've got to keep them away from the water and stuff, but are we restricting it too much?
Depends on your view of.
Because I think that
What are
the
your
issue
chickens?
is they become a nuisance. I think that's what people don't like. They become a nuisance or detrimental to the water. But do we need, does government need to do that?
But right now, we don't allow that, right? So we need something to.
But we don't, right now, they're currently not permitted.
So
So we could change it, the ordinance and take that part out. I don't know. I don't know how everybody else feels. How much regulation do we need for chicken? I don't know. So.
I can tell you that because of the issues, the nuisance issues, that's primarily why they are regulated, as the numbers based on size of property. That's why roosters are prohibited, because they get loud at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Would the nuisance ordinance take care of that without any nuisance, right? We got a lot of nuisances. We got loud music, we got people parking on the street. I mean, we have a lot of nuisances.
The question, I guess, again, these are policies of the board. A lot of municipalities, in an attempt to control and prevent nuisances from occurring, will adopt an ordinance regulating the numbers of chickens. That's not to say that people follow those. You're allowed 4, and suddenly there are 6. You know, I mean.
And then you got the enforcement problem, right? If you're gonna do an ordinance and you can't enforce it, what's the point? Well, we can enforce it.
We can. If we say 4 and there are 6.
And
all our
Two
neighbors
of them
have,
become dinner.
all our neighbors have almost this exact same law.
Yeah, it's, I'm not gonna say it's a standard ordinance, but it's pretty darn close. Because of the concerns you're raising, absolutely, because of the concerns you're raising, and that is, do you want somebody to try to have 24 chickens on an acre piece of property, because there is no regulation, and then say, then you get into, all right, well, I have a neighbor that loves chickens and they don't complain. So it's good over here, but then I go 2 blocks away and I have 12 chickens, and I have a neighbor that every little cluck, they are calling zoning to come in and enforce it. It's the pleasure of the board. If you want to just say chickens are allowed without regulation, you certainly can do that.
Yeah, and then we'll have Frank Perdue in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with the chicken ordinance regulating the amount. I understand your point, Ellen, but I think you gotta have some rules in place, and I think the ordinance addresses that.
I'd like to keep them away from the water, but
Well, it's in there. It
But
says
I just-
X amount of feet from ponds
I
and
know,
lakes and.
I might want those buffers bigger.
Well, and that's.
And that's where, this is good conversation. This is where we want to explore this, so
These are
we're
state
not.
regulated. It complies with the state for cows and horses, let alone chickens.
So my only comment is I would like to find a happy medium on roosters. Here's the thing, there's a bunch of people who already have roosters in the township. So you pass this ordinance, are you gonna say get rid of your roosters, or?
They'll die eventually, and we're just gonna replace them,
I'm just saying though,
or go eat them.
less government. Can we at least find a happy medium to allow roosters on X amount of acres or something? Rather than just saying roosters are absolutely prohibited, because you hear them all over the township. I don't. I hear them.
We're not allowed to have chickens.
But, okay, so let's just use my property as a prime example. I have 20 acres. My closest neighbor is a football field away from me. Literally. Because I own both sides of the street, so the closest one is a football field that way. I have 20 acres. I can't have a rooster?
No, because you could be on the borderline crowing.
Huh?
Doesn't matter if you have
No,
20
because
acres.
they have to be X amount of space from your property lines.
Yes.
I'm just saying, it's like,
Yeah.
first of all, not allowing roosters in Pocono Township is absolute, or not allowing chickens in Pocono Township is crazy. And then allowing them at saying no roosters.
What's the point?
Huh?
I said, without the rooster, you can't. I agree with you on the rooster.
Again, I think there has to be a happy medium in it versus just absolutely no way. Like, can we figure out some restrictions to kind of?
Say your comments, on the.
My comments about roosters. I'm trying to get everybody to figure something out. Let's look at compliment a personal gain. Don't tell me about that conversation. Dawn wants a rooster too, so Natasha and I don't have
I
roosters.
don't want any roosters, but I do hear them and they don't bother me. I think it's relaxing. Wakes me up in the morning and it's relaxing. I'm on a land where there's a lot and it's distant. I think it should be on a basis. Again, I don't even have chickens, so I'm just saying, I don't mind it.
Listen, I'm not saying that I necessarily want a rooster. I'm just saying I would like the ability to have one if I choose to. And I'm sure other people can agree that depending on acreage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
My comments to allow roosters.
Well, but so we don't,
That's why I was trying to discuss it, so we can try to
yeah,
figure out how we
yeah,
can,
a consensus,
before my comments. Yes.
is there a consensus? Otherwise I put rooster in, then we come up and they say, 4 or 3 of you say take rooster out, and now we wasted 2 more weeks. And I'm trying to avoid that, so if we can come to a consensus on things like rooster, there's no rush, but, if we come to a consensus on that, then that'll help.
5 acres.
Maybe
Everybody in my neighborhood will have
10 acres, sure.
1 on 10 or more.
10 acres or more, you can have a rooster. As long as it
One
provides by all the other stuff.
Can I say something?
Sure.
It seems like, I just want to say, when this first came up, and I'm glad it came up, I'm strongly pro-chicken, I reached out to the Broadhead Watershed Association Conservation District asking what their proposed buffers were. Happy to send that all to you guys, because they did have some good guidance from EPA, different organizations. Strongly pro-chicken, I want everyone to have chickens, but I do agree, we gotta protect the water. They can defecate, upstream from people's well water, that type of thing, and you don't want that, E. coli, all that.
Absolutely. So when
On speakers. Yeah.
Well,
People
so
don't want
when
dogs barking,
Brian
they don't
had composed a little bit of it, like, we had pulled from other townships and municipalities that are following, right?
If you wanna send that to me, I'd like to look at it.
I will.
I mean, as far as people who don't want dogs barking, he's got a kennel. I mean, I don't know how many acres he's got, but if somebody.
So that's a
next door to
completely
him-
separate issue. That has nothing to do with
It's
this.
noise the same way.
That's a nuisance, Seth.
Well,
So this
a rooster would be a nuisance to me. I'm a mile away from Camp Windmere, and I hear their music. I hear Lady Gaga the other night. I hear the guy announcing stuff. I'm a mile away. I mean, sound travels, so it's got to be something like 20 acres, I think, for a rooster net.
So I would say 10. That's where I'm at. 10 acres per rooster.
Yeah,
Consensus, 10 acres per rooster.
10 acres for a rooster. 11 acres.
Yeah, I'd just like to say this is why I recommended a workshop on this, because, now we're all discussing it. It wasn't on the agenda this evening, so people didn't know to be here. We're kind of having a little bit of a workshop here. It seems like there's a real diversity of opinion in the room, even among the Board of Commissioners. Opening it up to the public and letting them come in, advertising it as a workshop, getting people in here who are concerned about it.
Do the hearing, but this is gathering the information to schedule the hearing.
Well, a hearing is before the vote. It's not really an opportunity to draft up the. That's when you guys are approving the legislation once it's already drafted. Having the workshop helps you guys to draft the legislation before the hearing, so that you guys don't end up voting it down there to then bring it back later. If we want to get this done, I think giving the public their say. Obviously, a lot of different opinions here. Give them their say on the legislation before you bring it to a hearing to vote. That's my position. So.
I don't disagree with Charles. I think we got a lot of ordinances on the table. We could have one work session and knock them all out.
I mean, I don't really personally want to have a workshop on chickens.
But it would be.
It's not allowed in the township.
We're trying to allow it.
I know, but.
I'm saying they'll have a workshop on the chicken ordinances.
Well, I would combine that with the others. I mean,
That's what I'm saying. We got a lot of just things.
Want to get it over. We have the food truck, did we do that?
We have the food truck, we got the chickens, we got the Knox box. The Knox box is settled science. I don't even know why we're bothering discussing that.
Yeah.
That's settled science.
We added to the definition.
Oh, yeah, we have the definition of a smoke detector. Like, we need to have a meeting about that.
And what's the other one? What was the parking one?
I mean, come on.
That had to do with the conservation areas,
Yeah.
where we had changed the definition.
Your parking.
Yours, yeah, and the parking
For the land
requirements.
trust, yeah.
The land trust municipal parks.
Food truck, the food truck. And the food truck, I think the public would be interested in also. No?
And then the last one was the TDU. The current ordinance allows an increase in fees by way of resolution. So that can be on my agenda for the next meeting, Jared, if you don't mind. That can be a resolution that can be advertised for discussion and perhaps adoption.
No-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lindsay, are they calendar year or are they from a year from each permit?
No, they all expire on October 31st.
On when?
October
So we want to
31st.
do that one before October 31st.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, we put that on 2 weeks.
Do we need a hearing?
No, it's a resolution, not an ordinance.
Leo, where are we with the Warren Road easements?
Status quo from our last meeting, Rich. We are preparing to issue payment. We talked to Tom McEwen about his appraisal, and we're ready to issue payment. I think it's $1,500 a piece, and see if they accept it or challenge it at this point in time. So we should have them all in place in about, hopefully, within a month.
Did Mr. Journey get back to you?
Mr. Journey is not got back. I'll follow up.
Does anybody else have anything for Leah? I'll make a motion that we adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.